Welcome to the Prosperity and Beyond podcast. I'm Michelle Stamper, your mindset and manifestation coach, here to help you create your dream life from the inside out. In this space, we deep dive into self-image, mindset shifts, manifestation, meditation, and universal laws, so you can align with your highest timeline and fully step into your authentic power. This is your sacred space to trust your intuition, raise your vibration, and unlock prosperity and freedom from within. Starting now. Say it with me. I am prosperity and beyond. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Leanne Hughes, a holistic physiotherapist with over 25 years of experience, a wife and mom, and a dedicated guide for women navigating breast cancer. She's the creator of A Hero's Journey, a 12-week program specifically designed to support women through breast cancer, using 4 pillars: mindset, medicine, movement, and mastery. Leanne also offers Physio-Pilates, combining physiotherapy and mindful movement to help women rebuild strength, confidence, and connection to their bodies. Leanne, welcome to the show. Hi, Leanne. I'm so happy that you're here today, and welcome to Prosperity and Beyond. How are you doing today from across the world in Australia?
Oh, I'm just feeling great. Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here.
So as we talked about before, you have really dived into personal development, and that's actually how we met, through Proctor's Principles and through Brian Proctor, because we've done a lot of inner work. What really got you started in personal development? Or when can you remember that feeling of, I want more, or I want to work on myself?
Yeah. Well, it really started at a young age, about the age of 16. And it was after, 16 years of really living in an abusive household and living in fear. I really lived in fear every day. And my mother was abused. We were all abused. And I did not want that future for myself. So I knew that it would be easy to continue that pattern, and I didn't want that. So I started really diving into my feelings, into my body, into my emotions, and making sure that they didn't stay in my body. And I also, at that time, came across affirmations. So I knew that the higher I kept my mindset, the better outcome my life, or the better life I could create. So I started it at a pretty young age, and I really stuck with it for most of my life. It came from knowing that I could create a better life and not the one that I had with my birth family.
What kind of changes did you start to see looking inward with the affirmations? What changes did you see after using affirmations?
Wow. Well, they really, something that I've learnt now is, I to see me, you would have seen me as a happy child, but I really created this one happy world when there was a really, really dark side to my world. And I didn't realize till now, later in life, how much there were aspects of me that continued a negative mantras, and really quite sad mantras, because I it was quite a sad childhood. So, even mantras like "I want to die," and I've learnt now that as a child, I didn't necessarily know. It wasn't actually that I wanted to die. It was that I wanted to be out of that situation. I wanted that pain to end and that abuse to end. So those mantras were playing in the background in my subconscious mind, not necessarily in my conscious mind. So I'm so grateful for those affirmations, because it started planting the seed for better beliefs and, wanting to live and wanting to live a positive life. And they really opened my heart. I always remember as a child having an open, loving heart. And they really opened me more and connected me with that love more and more, so that I could attract the life that I have now. Attract my wonderful
That's so
husband, my
beautiful.
beautiful kids. So, mm.
And your business and all the things that you have done for yourself. Yeah, you have really created a beautiful life, and your mission. We'll get more into that. But is there a certain person or role model that you had that you really looked up to when you started getting into personal development?
Well, definitely Louise Hay. So Louise Hay was definitely my guide through most of it. So her Heal for Life book, I just understood the connection between health, mindset and our body. And yeah, it was really like a little Bible for me. And she had a lot of affirmations on YouTube. I think they're all not on YouTube at the time, but they're all more fancy now. But at the time, she would say an affirmation in a slow voice and you could just repeat it. And she'd say it in a slow voice and you could repeat it. So wherever I was listening to it and repeating it, um, as a bit of a joke in our household later, because anytime I could feel my mindset starting to go a little bit negative, that's what I knew to do. So I would pull out her affirmations, and I started saying them out loud in the house, and my kids would have a good laugh, and yeah, but they really changed my life. Mm.
Yeah, and I love how your mindset and the connection with the body, because eventually your career moved into the physiotherapy. So what
Mm.
inspired you to get into that field, after doing this mindset work from a young age?
So it's really interesting because I chose physiotherapy at a younger age. I think I just always knew that I would go into a healing industry. And I remember really knowing that it needed to be something that was recognized in this world. I knew that I wanted something where I could get a degree and be recognized, but then also wanted to bring in this other work that I was so closely connected with. And I knew that it would just be a matter of time till I combine the two. And as it happens, I got into the study and I was definitely bringing the aspects of things that I knew into my work just through my energy. My husband once said, "You really help people as a physio." He said, "But I think they would come to you regardless because you just make them feel better when they're in your presence." That was such a beautiful thing to say. But it made me start to think, I am, giving on all those levels that I wanted to give. And yeah, so it was just a very young age. I was watching a TV show and I saw these therapists, physiotherapists at the Australian Institute of Sport, and they were analysing bodies. And I just looked at them. I said, "That's what I want to do when I grow up. That's it." And I had other friends trying to sway me into different aspects of medicine, and I was like, "Nope, that's it." So it was just a calling.
Yeah, I love how you, because mind, body, and soul, mind, body, and spirit, and connecting all the modalities in that holistic way. And it sounds like you, from a young age, you were very intuitive. So even though you went through all this darkness and abuse, you intuitively knew you had to go inward and you had to make the change. You were the generational change. So, because I remember my first impression of you, I would have never known that you grew up in a
Mm,
difficult, like, having a difficult childhood. Like, when I saw you, I saw light. When I saw you, I saw passion and I saw leadership. When I watched that video that you shared through Proctor's
yeah,
Principles and is on your website, which we'll share at the end. If you were to speak to the younger version of you, because there's a lot of people here that might relate to that version of you, what would you say to her right now?
I've got you. I've got you. Everything's okay. And I guess when I say that, it really means now for me, it doesn't matter what happens, you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I've got you. And I'll do that with a big hug, whether that's a rub on my arm or just an actual hug, but it's really, putting, well, for me, those, yeah, mwah, those younger versions, a lot of people see when they talk about an inner child, they, picture one age or one inner child. But for me, because it was, complex trauma, there's many versions of that inner child for me. Many of them that were trapped in little, uh, points in time. So every time, another part comes forward, that's I have to integrate that part and bring that part to my heart and let them know, they're safe and I've got you. Mm.
What are some of your favorite personal development practices or daily rituals besides affirmations that really have helped you when you get to that negative space or doubt or that fear comes back up?
Self-talk, which I guess is a form of affirmation. So there's the formal part of affirmations where you look in the mirror and you really repeat them or you write them down. There's lots of ways to get affirmations into your subconscious mind. Um, but actually watching the self-talk. And that's probably the biggest thing, the first bit of self-talk. If you're coming into fear, gosh, it's such a trust that what you are going through is meant for you. You know, it's meant for your greater good. You know, whatever you're going through is meant for your greater good, and you are going to grow and learn from this situation. And that's without a doubt. That's something you've always got to remember. You know, I think the terms "life happens for you," and that's something you've got to have a really, really deep belief and faith about. And movement, movement for sure. Get out, go for a walk, get in nature, ground. If you've got some grass at home, get your feet on that grass. Or, you know, I'm close to the beach, so getting on the sand and putting your feet in the sand, grounding, grounding. That's a huge thing. When you get in touch with nature, it just seems to balance your energy. It can really help you shift. So definitely the self-talk, the movement, and meditation. I've got to say meditation. And there's so many different forms of meditation. So if I've actually used tapping, I don't know if you've used tapping before, but tapping was
Oh,
something I was introduced. Yeah, the EFT, and it was something that was introduced later in life. And I think that's a really easy form of, like, you know, it's not the meditation in the sense that a lot of people know, just sitting there with an om or, you know, clearing the mind, but it's just a form of really calming down your nervous system. There's yoga nidra, which is a really, you know, one that I really like as well. And it just depends, you know, the space that I'm in and what I want to get out of it. But some form of meditation, I think they're essential every day, every day.
I agree, especially the self-talk because who we speak the most to is ourselves. We don't realize the conversations we're having. And really, the main question I ask myself is, how am I feeling? Because I'll know how I'm speaking to myself if I know how I feel, because that's my frequency. So tapping in to having a better relationship with yourself, moving your body, all those things, raising your vibration. It's cool because you've tapped into so many different modalities and raising your vibration. And that's so inspirational. And that helps so many people because since you did that for yourself, that impacted every single person that you came in contact with, especially with your family. I feel like you are the generational change. I hope that you own that, like how impressive you are, like how important you are, and how what you've done has created the generation after generation in your family.
Yeah, I'm going to accept that because I still find it hard to really accept it. But for anybody listening, I want them to know that it's exactly the same for them. You know, we all have our role in this world and we're all important. And yeah, whenever you include whatever affirmation you're saying, it includes everybody, it includes you. I do believe that when we heal generations past, we heal generations future. And I definitely, definitely believe that was one of my first missions coming into this world. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like what I've spoke about before is time is kind of an illusion and all we have is right now
Mhm.
and everything's ever present, right? Omnipresent was Bob Proctor used to say in the moment of now. So we can be free in the moment, we can be healed in the moment, we can be connected to the real version of us when we are in the moment. That's the most powerful thing is to be in the moment, I feel
Mhm.
like. Um and you're a business owner. So how did that get started?
It wasn't part of my family or anything like that, so it was a real first again, which is great. There's just something on my mind. Sorry, just referencing, you know, when we talk about past and future, and I think it just helps our mind with alignment. But you know, really, there's the belief that it's all happening at the same time, right? There's no time. So sorry, I just wanted to acknowledge what you said there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah. So business. Okay. So I really didn't have the courage or confidence to go into business until after my daughters were born, which is 15 years ago, and which seems like an instant ago, but 15 years ago. And I just needed to leave. I left on maternity leave, and I just had so many people reaching out to me from all the private practices that I'd worked to ask me when I was coming back. And the practices were saying that their phones keep ringing and everyone wants to know when I'm coming back. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is the time. This is the time to start. And I think it was a real confidence thing for me not doing it sooner, but everything happens at the right time. And I had gone to see a few physios myself, for help with my pelvis and things after the pregnancies. And I thought if they could do it, I can do it. It was one of those comparisons that was one of the good comparisons. I was like, okay, I can do this. So I just started my practice from then. I just started working on some clients from home, and then thought I'm not going to go back and work for anybody else. It's time to work for myself. So my sister opened up a yoga studio. And when I was ready, she said to me, "You've got to come and rent a room in my yoga studio and start practicing again." And I did that, and it just grew so quickly that I then overtook the. We ended up owning a whole floor of a building. So she had a yoga practice on one side, and I had the physio practice on the other side, and it just grew from there. So we were called, still the company name is Inspire. So Inspire Physio and Pilates was the business that I ran, and yeah, wonderful clients, wonderful memories, everything. So I've since closed that brick and mortar business down. But it was to pursue this passion now of helping women with breast cancer.
Are you
Yeah.
still currently doing the physio Pilates? Because I saw that on your website. Is that something you're still offering
Yes.
as a program?
Well, what happened, I had a lot of people that came to me weekly for Physio Pilates, and it was a really popular program. And I think it was not only because of what they were learning, but it really helped people become present, because a lot of people do Pilates or do exercise without intention. And it really quietened people's minds. They were educated. They had the intention, of what they needed to feel, what they needed to do with every single exercise. And I would always do a very short integration or meditation at the end. So everyone always left feeling so much better, and they were learning so much about their bodies. And I just didn't put any limits on their bodies. It was like, you just keep going at this, and you just don't know. Your body's miraculous. Your body can heal. It can do incredible things. And some women, had been through me in different practices, and, overall maybe we're still coming to these classes 10 years later. And it was, sometimes old women that couldn't touch their toes, and, and all of a sudden, their improvements just kept coming, kept coming, and kept coming. So when I closed the practice, I really felt I needed to honor that, because a lot of them were going to, or were worried that they weren't going to have that available to them. So my first online program was that. Now it's called the Ultimate Physio Pilates Program. So that's how I started my kind of journey online, because they all bought that program, and that was 3 years ago, I think now, and I still get messages from people saying, I still watch your program and I still love it, and this is my favorite class. So it's really lovely. I still have a relationship with a lot of those people, a lot of my past clients. So it's really, really sweet. And so I don't run the classes now, but I have that program, and I still did continue hands-on physiotherapy treatment up until, 3 months ago. So now it's, yeah, yeah, I felt like I needed to take that leap, so needed to take that leap.
You just launched a new 12-week program called A Hero's Journey. What
Yeah.
inspired this program?
Well, I went through breast cancer myself, so I don't think we've mentioned that yet. So, I went through kind of a second stage in my life, or second or third, or anyway, another big stage in my life where a whole bunch of new memories came out as an adult in regard to the abuse when I was younger. And I was dealing with those memories and that trauma for about a year. And then after that year, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was able to link that cancer when it actually started, to a very, very specific memory when I was 14 years old. And the program started always, as it does, as a journey to help me. But I can share with you the actual incident, the moment that I knew that I needed to do it. So I got diagnosed, and I was very lucky to have all the tools that I had. So I knew straight away how to deal with the fear, how to deal with the emotions, And I knew how to get my mindset. I went straight back to my affirmations, and I knew that I was going to get myself through this situation. So, but within the diagnosis, it was just a week before I was on the chemotherapy chair. It was just, a bunch of tests. I think it was from a Monday, and then the following Tuesday, I was in the chemotherapy chair. And it was through COVID, so I couldn't have anybody with me. And I was sitting in the chair, and there was this lovely lady who was, I think she was a pastoral care worker, and she was going around to everybody in the chemotherapy room because nobody was allowed to have support. And she was just asking them, a little bit about their journey and if she could do anything. And she got to me, and she was lovely, and I said something along the lines of, look, I said, I think I'm okay. I'm visualizing the medication this way, and which was beautiful white light, loving light that was going to come into my body and heal everything that it needed to heal. And I said, I've got my meditation to listen to, but I also bought this book that that I enjoyed, all to do with, just anything that helped me to feel good through the process. And I had my water, and I had my nourishing food. And she just looked at me, and she put her hand on mine. She goes, she said, "You're at the end of your healing journey, aren't you?" And she goes, "Most people here are just beginning." And,
I
she
just
said,
got chills.
I'm here if you need me, but I don't think you will," kind of thing was the reference that she made. And I just suddenly looked at everything so differently. I was like, whoa, like I just realized that everything I had said to her, a lot of women wouldn't know, and a lot of women wouldn't be doing. And from then on, my journey was just different. I started to think, who am I going to meet? Who can I help? Why am I here? Why am I here? There's reasons that my light is here right now. And this is why. This is why. So I can reach the women who need this.
What's beautiful about your story, it's all the building blocks of the mindset and then the physiotherapy and then your own personal experiences and then implementing it and then teaching it. But it's all you can see why it all happened for you, just like we were talking
Yeah.
before. Everything happens for me. And then you can take the skills that you learned and apply it to every single day even stronger because of that contrast that you went through. So
Yeah.
that is amazing in your perspective that you were at the end of the healing because you made a decision. That was beautiful. That's
Yeah.
something really important to share. I love the way you were visualizing with the light, the bright light entering your body. So you mentioned there's like 4 pillars that
Mhm.
have to do with your program. What are those 4 pillars and why are they important?
Okay, so mindset we've discussed a little bit already. So the two main areas of mindset that I cover is gratitude, because gratitude brings you to that highest vibration. And I really talk about, I mean, I don't know if this happens for everybody, but for me, the experience of breast cancer definitely reminds you of the fact that we're in a physical, living the physical realm, and that's for a short period. And so it helped me to look at everything differently, everything around me. I was just so grateful for, because if it wasn't today, one day, we're not gonna have this. It is here for a short time. So it just gave me that sense of joy. And from Proctor's principles, gratitude practice, every day is something that we do. So I really encourage people to start a gratitude practice. And when I say that, I definitely don't mean in that moment you're necessarily going to be grateful for the breast cancer or what you're going through in that moment. But it's being grateful, that you can walk, you can talk, you can hug someone, you can call a friend, you can see the beautiful sky and the trees and nature and hear nature. So it's just being grateful for all the things that you do have. And there's so many benefits to gratitude. The affirmations we discussed already. I think what I'll add to that, though, and the course really meets every woman is at a different stage. Although on the same journey of breast cancer, they're at a different stage in their life and a different stage in their healing. So it really meets you where you're at. So affirmations can give you that vision of having a goal, having something to always bring your mind back to and to feel. So to start feeling, being healthy or that perfect health that you desire. And it's something that I've really learned is affirmations can be a really good access to clear out past, negative beliefs. So sometimes you're saying an affirmation and you'll hear a voice that says, no way, or the total opposite thing, or there's a voice screaming at you something else and it doesn't believe it. So there's gentle ways to bring to help that affirmation um, sink. I guess I'm going to use the word sink into your subconscious mind and into your body, and until it becomes that reality that you desire. So that's mindset, and I really want to help women if it's where they're at, to realize why they are going through what their journey is with breast cancer. It's a journey of the medicine on the Eastern medicine. So, I went through all of that, the chemo, the therapy, the radiation, the surgery. And with my background, I have knowledge with that. And there's a lot of women. So sorry, we've just moved on to medicine. There is my professional knowledge there. And, in the clinic, I would see a lot of women who had been through breast cancer surgery. And the next thing, they were getting scans of their shoulders, and they just weren't, they thought that they had to go for shoulder surgery, and they just weren't doing the physical activities that they wanted to do. One lady wanted to go skiing. She came into the clinic. I genuinely gave her one exercise to do, just one exercise to do, and it was a game changer. She didn't need to have surgery. There was nothing wrong with her shoulder. She had just tightened up so much through her spine and through her chest, and I think it was within 10 days she was going down to the snow yes, we do have snow in Australia. Not much, but we do. She was heading down to the snow to ski. So I think it's about not limiting your outcome. I just don't want women to limit their outcome. So take that medical route, and then understand that there are so many forms of holistic medicine or holistic tools that you can use as well. So something that I've realized in hindsight is that even though I was doing the holistic healing at the same time, the medical world does take a lot of time and effort, and there's symptoms and things that you go through with that. So I don't want women to get to the end and just not know, think there's nothing left. What do I do now? So many women get to the end of their journey and go, what do I do now? So the movement part, I actually do have the program that I use for myself, my own program in the course, which is the Physio-Pilates based program, which can take you from post-surgery to full recovery. So I've got that in the program. And then I've got all different bonuses and full classes that are from my Ultimate Pilates program. So whether you have surgery or not, you get moving. And I go into movement a lot more because there's different levels of movement and different forms of movement. But moving back to, or the final thing is mastery, and that's really mastery of your life, where you want to go, what do you really want? You really say goodbye to an older version of yourself, and if you allow it, you come out a new version, and you really want to know what that new version is, and you want to be able to step into it. And that's where the mastery comes in.
Wow. This is so important, and I can tell the passion that you have that around this course, around this program. It is just inspirational. The frequency in which you speak, I don't know if you know that. You're so heart-centered, and it's balancing what you said, like we're human, we're here in this physical reality, but we're also able to raise our vibration or to attract or to create and to use the tools that are not just in the physical 3D. So it's combining all areas, all expertise in all areas. Like, you're the perfect person for someone to come to or to go through this program to change their life, not just medically, but that they can use these tools for the rest of their life. Because all the things you're talking about are so important and so many people could relate to. Um, what are
Say there's some women who I know who have never thought of an illness as being the start of a spiritual journey, and there are some women who already have that understanding but need to go deeper. So I want to try and reach all those women. There's simple steps, just very easy I shouldn't use the word easy. They're simple steps. It's not an easy journey, but when you have support around you and you've just got simple steps in front of you, you know what to do in every situation. So you just get the clarity, you get the confidence, and of course you get that inner strength. And with this program, you also get the physical outer strength that we all want as well.
One question I have is how do you balance your roles as a business owner, mother, and healer? So, all the things that you're doing, how do you balance that out?
I'm much kinder on myself now than I was in the past. I think there's such a mentality of, the one symptom that I did have when I was diagnosed was I was tired, and most of the women that I speak to with breast cancer say there was some level of fatigue there. And I think it's almost an accepted thing when you've got a business and family and everything that you're doing, everything I was processing and going through, that the fatigue is just normal. Now I'm just so much kinder on myself. So I do set goals every day and I have intentions every day, but I keep them small and simple to easy to achieve. And I give myself a high five. I'm like, okay, I did it. Like I really reward myself and celebrate the small wins. Okay, I've got a good tool that just came through that is really important. Writing down is, I think Brian says it's the 5 things list. It doesn't matter how many things are on your list, but writing down, priorities for the day. And gosh, I remember when I first started doing this and I thought, I've got to put 20 things on my list, and because there's just so much there. But you know what? As a mother, I just go for it. Put 20 things on the list if you have to, but you'll slowly realize that when you're ticking off that list, you just feel so good about, you don't have to do the 20. You feel so good about everyone that you've ticked, and you get to the end of the day and you can say, wow, I actually did like 3 or 4 of those things that were on the list, and you feel really good about it. And then you can carry that list over to the next day. Sometimes I think without that list, you've got the 20 things going over in your head, which I was definitely doing in the past, and not acknowledging the ones that I ticked off. I was just focusing on the things that I had left. Um, so, so yeah, be gentle on yourself, rest more often, tick something off that list, and really celebrate your win that day. Celebrate the things that you have done.
Yeah, because one step at a time towards your goal. And I feel
Yeah.
like you've created such a beautiful balance. And also trusting that everything you've gone through has made you the person who is ready to create whatever you're creating. So it wasn't like you have to do it all right now. You've been doing it. And it builds into that dream. Because so many of us have that dream and we see it outside of us. But we've been becoming that version of us who is receiving that dream every single day by taking 1, 2 steps at a time, like you were saying, or writing down 5 things and moving in that direction.
It's when you realize that time doesn't matter. When you realize that time doesn't matter and it's just all about your healing and your growth and your expansion. And, you know, I think some people think that they're going to get to this point and it's just it. But as long as you're on this earth and as long as you're growing and experiencing, that's why you're here. You're going to keep growing. So everything I learn today, everything I learn tomorrow, it's just more that I can give to the women, who come my way.
Yeah, one thing I always say is all we have is right now. So it's about how we feel right now. And because one thing, as I'm turning 33, I feel like I've caught myself comparing myself. Oh, I should be there. Oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that. And that's being everywhere but right here, which is where our power is, where our peace is, where our intuition is. It's all right here. And I really believe that everything we want is already within us. So the more we can be present and feel our truth, right? And like you said when you were talking about gratitude earlier, that's a tool that brings you back to the present and in our truth because we're focusing on what is good and feeling it. And meditation brings you to the present moment. So that's where I believe our power is in the present moment. When we can be present and we can be authentic and we can be grateful, that changes your life. And we become
Mhm.
the ripple effect when we choose that frequency, when we choose that mindset. What do you wish every woman navigating breast cancer knew about healing and empowerment? What do you think? What would the older version of you need to hear in that moment of what you know now?
Every woman going through cancer needs to know that self-care is the priority, but not because it's such a, there's a lot of, warrior, and I'm going to beat this and I'm going to do this. And you need that, you need that warrior woman in you, but you need that more subtle heart and a really heart-centered, heartfelt, deep love and self-care. And I think when you really sit in that heart-centered space, your body, you're going to give your body the best. Or you've healed. For me, you've healed. When you find that place, when you reach that place. Mm.
Yeah, becoming heart centered. And how about for someone who doesn't have cancer but knows someone, maybe they're listening to this episode? What is the best way to navigate speaking to someone or talking to someone or connecting to someone who does have cancer?
The things that I've had people ask me that question a little bit lately, and I can just reference the things that I really felt. And I think that someone going through breast cancer needs to be showered in love, unconditional love. Some part of themselves isn't giving that, isn't giving enough of that to themselves. So they don't need to dwell on the cancer. They need a little check-in, how are you doing? A warm meal delivered, without any expectations. I had some beautiful friends drop me meals in the letterbox and just say, your lunch, I made extra lunch and it's in your box. So there wasn't this expectation that I had to give anything back. It was just at my door. And there was a beautiful community system that another friend set up, and they I can't remember the program now, but I didn't even know it existed, and she set it up for me. But a whole bunch of the school community came, and they took a meal every night, and as a mum with a family, that was just unbelievable. And they followed, the dietary requirements that I wanted to follow, and it was just beautiful. I had my sister with me, and she does shiatsu. It was just such a gentle touch and a gentle, just I remember going to the bathroom and coming out in my bedroom, and she'd just made the bed, for me to get back in. And I was like, oh, thank you. Like just the smallest little gifts of love. And I had other people reach out to me who are energetic, and, energy healers. And they just, they said, I'm going to give this to you for free. Like they didn't charge me, and that was something really hard for me to accept. But I think I was just in such a state that I just knew that if I couldn't give that back, give back to them, that they would get it back. You've just got to trust that you need to receive, just really receive the love, receive the good. And that's what you can do as a friend, just unconditional love. The other thing that is so important as a friend, and this is what I said to my whole family, is don't see the person going through cancer as someone unwell. See them in the light and the joy and healthy, the way that you want them to be. Because you holding that visualization and you holding that level of energy for them, they have that ability to rise to it. And that's those two things: sending unconditional love and holding that vision.
That is so powerful. Because that's with every modality in life where you see somebody, but I saw on your website you had the word survivor and you scratched that out. What do you think would be an alternative that would be empowering for people?
So I like the word hero because I think we become the hero of our own journey. That's what that means for me. I've heard other people use the word thriver, and I think I did have a little bit of a, my husband thinks the word survivor is amazing. He thinks, oh, if you've survived, you're like so. But when I was picturing survivor, I pictured somebody that just got to the end and was like, oh, I survived. And so it's not that I don't like the word. I just think that there may be better, maybe better words. Surviving is incredible, but I want the women who journey with me to really look back with, just be so proud of how they got through it and where they've gotten to, and realize that they are, or they can be the heroes of their journey.
Wow. I love that. That is that perspective is just it's so empowering, and perspective shifts your mindset. Perspective is everything. It can change your life. So it's really important that even these small, like, minor details can change everything. The way we speak, right? That self-talk. What's next for a hero's journey and for you personally?
What's next for a hero's journey? So I've just started reaching out to bigger bigger hospitals, the doctors that I know, doctors that I don't know, just starting to really reach a bigger audience. And I just want to see it as a movement and a change in how we see cancer, not just breast cancer, but how we see cancer. And I want everybody to know that it's the start of a journey. It's not the destination. I think that's on one of my social media things. And I want them to know that it's part of, it can be a wonderful journey. It can be a wonderful journey, and you can really thrive through it, and you can really create the life that you want. It's some people use the word wake up call. I guess I can use that here. Use it as your wake up call. It doesn't mean that your life was bad, but it just means, hey, how can I make it better? How can I make it better? And don't like fear. I think fear is the biggest thing that most people get caught up in. But when you can shift from being afraid to just looking at it, okay, I'm meant to be here. This is what I'm meant to be going through. What can I learn? How can I look at this differently? It changes your world. Changes your world.
And how can listeners connect with you or learn more about you? I guess through your website, or how would you like them to reach out to you?
Yep. So leannehughesphysio.com, social media, YouTube, Instagram at Leanne Hughes Physio. Even on my website, you can just reach out to me. You can have a 15-minute chat with me. Nothing to lose there. And yeah, just reach out. Reach out on social media or through my website, and I will happily answer any questions. And yeah, I just look forward to helping everyone raise.
I am so happy that you came on the podcast today and shared your story. Your story matters and it's powerful, and it's going to help so many people. Thousands, even millions if you want that to be millions. Your story matters. So I really appreciate you coming here and sharing your story and being open, and that is your power. The power is in your story. So, and it's in the journey. I think we're gonna play the video after this so people can get a little bit more information. I'll post all your website and all your socials in the show notes below. Is there anything else you want to share, like last final thoughts with the audience before we go?
Last final thoughts are just, you are stronger than you know, and surround yourself. It's important to surround yourself with people who know that too. And if you, for some reason, don't have that community, I just invite you to be a part of mine, and I'll help you see that, and I'll help you know that.
Thank you so much.
Have you been diagnosed with breast cancer? Are you feeling scared and overwhelmed? Like your whole world has been shattered, turned upside down? Do you have a fear of the future? The effects of treatment? What will happen to your family, with or without you? I understand, because as a mother and wife with 2 young children, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I know exactly how you feel. Hi, my name is Leanne Hughes. I am a holistic physiotherapist with more than 25 years experience, and I have personally walked the journey of breast cancer. I have dedicated my life to helping women move through the struggle of breast cancer to a better life. Are you asking, why am I going through breast cancer? I'll tell you. It's an opportunity for you to personally grow. It's a chance for you to change things in your life that aren't working for you. It's a chance for you to forgive the past and to live your life now in the present moment, to be filled with love and joy. It's your chance to live an even better life. I remember when I got the diagnosis, I was scared. I felt ashamed and alone. I remember looking at my husband and my 2 children in the eyes and telling them that I would do everything I could to survive. This commitment meant using the best of Eastern and Western medicine, maintaining a positive attitude and vibration, healing old wounds, releasing all energy that no longer served me. I trusted that the breast cancer diagnosis happened for my greater good, and I committed to learning and growing from the experience. That commitment to myself and my family gave me an inner strength and knowing so great that I was no longer a victim to my circumstances. I found my inner hero, and I can help you find yours. I didn't want my children to see me as a cancer survivor. I wanted them to know I was the hero of my life. You can be that too. If any of this resonates with you, I would love to meet you, because I know that I can help you through breast cancer. For more information and to connect, click the link below.